vision. Then by Gorm Tuxen, he's the founder and CEO of Tuxen Group. He leads 3 specialized companies in the security and smart technology sectors. After 40 years of building businesses in his adopted country, Gorm has transitioned from owning a furniture store to leading a tech firm that serves global giants, including the world's largest outdoor retailer. He's the author of Immigrant Entrepreneurship in America, a book that distills 4 decades of lessons on scaling, grit, and the evolving nature of the American dream. Welcome to the show, Gorm.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is an honor. You've spent 40 years building a life and a business legacy in America. Looking back at your start as a furniture store owner, what was that pivot point that convinced you to jump into the world of high-tech security?
Well, the pivot point kind of took care of itself because the furniture store came to an end because of a number of different economic issues, and I had to pivot into something else. And the furniture store was a transition from a previous job with my former bosses as partners. The main thing for me was I wanted to be self-employed. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, always have been, always wanted to be. So when the furniture store came to an end, I started looking around. And of course, it was in the beginning of the IT revolution at the time. PCs were brand new. The first one I bought for the store had 10 megabytes on it. And I was extremely interested in the whole development of IT, computers, software. And of course, at the time it all happened, there were not really any professional sort of approach to it because it was all brand new. So I was lucky to have an opportunity to pursue it. So that's what led to my next engagement, looking for technology companies that I might be able to represent or work with.
Yeah, fascinating. In your book, you talk about the unique lens of the immigrant entrepreneur. What's one specific opportunity you saw in the American market that your peers born here seem to be missing?
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing about being an immigrant is that everything is new. And you very quickly find out, if you don't already know, that what you think it is not going to be what it is. You have to learn everything because you show up with a perspective from a different country. All your benchmarks are different. Your outlook is different. The culture is different. The rules are different. So you learn to study and become a student very quickly in adapting. And I think when you do that, you start seeing some things that other people maybe don't see. I think it becomes kind of a mindset that you're constantly looking for things that are not seen or in between or a correlation of one thing or another.
Absolutely amazing. Again, I am chatting with Gorm Tuxen. And Gorm, you now lead the Tuxen Group, which oversees 3 distinct companies. How do you manage your downstream operations across 3 separate entities without losing your reservoir of personal focus?
Good people, having humility in starting these companies up. I mean, it's all about starting small and not getting yourself overextended. And it's definitely not about going off in a lot of different directions all at once. So the companies in the group have kind of evolved as a result of primarily activities in Tuxen and Associates, but were ancillary opportunities that presented themselves. And another key component to scaling something in the early stages is strategic alliances. And in my time with Duncan Industries in the parking meter industry, I learned how to reach out of the sandbox and work with other companies that were maybe not in the industry, but parallel to the industry or were a part of the industry, and find common ground to explore new ideas where a strategic alliance partner may play a part that you can't, and that you certainly can't afford to stand up, nor can you afford to assume that you know what it is because you've never done it before. So those are some of the key elements.
I'm chatting with the author of Immigrant Entrepreneurship in America, a book that distills 4 decades of lessons on scaling, grit, and the evolving nature of the American dream. Once again, written by our guest, Gorm Tuxen. And Gorm, our listeners can't see you, but I know that many entrepreneurs hit a plateau after a decade or two. And I'm watching the passion on your face right now. How have you managed to stay in that amazing mindset and keep evolving your business for 40 years without burning out?
Well, it's really a question of balance, and it's about defining happiness, right? I mean, it's for me, I feel extremely blessed. I have been so blessed by this country, the opportunities that have been afforded me, and the people that have helped me along the way. And I have found great appreciation in giving back and paying things forward and enjoying seeing other people grow and prosper and as a result of our engagement. I think that really defines it. It's not a question of how much money you got on your checkbook. It's a question of what kind of a difference can you make? I mean, we go through a whole life, we learn all these things, that we only learn them for personal enrichment, or are they intended to be passed on so that, maybe others could have a better starting point? So
amazing. Gorm, I am curious, what does the American dream look like to you in 2026? And has that definition changed at all since you've first arrived?
Yeah, I mean, the definition of the American dream is what I'm living. The ability to look back at 40 years and look at all those lessons and draw a line through them. Writing the book was really an opportunity for me as a mentor to web it all together. I've mentored my employees, my leaders, my everybody, and I've had mentors, and I understand the importance of that. So the ability to give that back is like the completion of the American dream in my mind. I mean, what a wonderful feeling to share and engage and have others see that the American dream still exists, because that seems to be lost on some folks these days.
Yeah, and I mentioned this in the intro, but you serve some of the largest retailers and resort operators in the world. How do you maintain the human heart of a small business founder while delivering the machine mind security technology at such a massive scale?
Well, my role in that whole endeavor was being the architect. So, I had a really good partner that was doing all the implementation and standing up the systems. But, I was really the architect in putting it all together in an integrated system. And so, that was, a very specific focus of the whole thing. And then, of course, it was built out to plan. So, that was kind of how we managed that situation.
Very, very interesting. Well, Gorm, we're coming close to the end of our time together. And I always love to leave the end of the conversation, of course, so we can get in touch with you. We'll do that in a moment, but with some advice. So for our listeners, perhaps a listener who might be facing or struggling an early stage setback, what's one piece of advice from your 4 decades of experience on how to turn that failure into long-term momentum?
Always look forward. Don't look back. Failure takes care of itself. You got to find a vantage point from where you can see success. And you have to realize that you may not be standing in that spot right now. With that perspective, you can go on to the next day with hope. There's always going to be setbacks, but that's going to be part of growing you and making you resilient and making you successful.
Gorm, I want to give the final word over to you to make sure our listeners can find your book and learn more about the important work that you and your companies are doing. How can they do so?
You can learn about our company at tuxengroup.com. We've also, at that site, you can also get a link to a discussion group that we've set up on entrepreneurship and immigration. We invite people to join and talk about the subject and questions, contributions, whatever. The book can be found at Amazon.com and any bookstore close to you, Barnes & Nobles. but Amazon.com has it up, ready to go already. So I know for sure that they can fulfill.
Yeah, they can. They could probably drop the book at your home within hours with a drone.
I'm sure they can. Yeah.
Thanks, Gorm. Appreciate you coming on the program. Thanks for inspiring us, and I can't wait to bring you back on again real soon. We'll link in the show notes to Gorm, as well as to all of our guests that we have had on this week on the show, all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. I mean, friends, I always leave the show inspired, really, really just inspired by the amazing brilliance of the authors, by the entrepreneurs that are not just talking the talk, but actually walking the walk. And that's what we try to do each and every week. Again, we'd love to hear your feedback. Get in touch, shalomklein.com. Go on your favorite podcast app, just search for Getting Down to Business. And be sure to support the sponsors of our show. They've kept us on the air for over 12 years. But that's a wrap for us this week on the show, all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. To success, let's get down to business. We'll see you next week right here.